So what is it about the Cerbera's key that is so infamous? Well, I've just got mine out at the moment, so I can show you the back of it. The key is a perfectly ordinary barrel lock, which you can buy from RS or Farnell. There's a million and one different ones. I can't really comment on the quality of the switch itself, but I believe the problem is something you might have just seen, because I've taken off the lock nut on the back here. And these locks are meant to be keyed into a hole with on that flat, so they can't rotate. And the lock nut is there just to hold it in place, like from moving forwards and backwards, moving it that way. The anti-rotation feature is the flat, and there's in fact a flat on both sides on this one, although you usually get them on one side only. So I think the problem is that because TVR just drilled a hole, that when you use the key, you are relying on that lock nut being tight enough to stop the whole body rotating as you turn the key. And then over time, and what we're driving the car, this lock nut can walk itself off. I undid mine, but it can walk itself off. And the result is that these wires get more and more twisted as you use the key and try and get the key out, put it back in again, and essentially this will just wind itself up and up and up until you break a wire. And as soon as you break a wire, that's it, you can't drive the car. So that's why this, and I'm pretty sure it's this 2-pin connector here that's connected to. It would make sense, the 2 black wires, all the others are colour coded. So what you'd need to do is to bridge those 2 pins to permanently wire out the lock, or do something to make sure this thing can't bloody well rotate. I'm toying with the idea of quickly cadding up a little collar that drops over it and reacts on the fag lighter next to it, although this too has the same problem. It's got a screw down collar. It's all very cheap and nasty, but at least this thing is not going to go anywhere. So I'm thinking of making a simple collar that drops over the back there and kind of grabs onto this. So it goes a little C shape that wraps around there and then drops over here and has the 2 flats to stop that turning. So I don't think it's the lock itself. I just think it's the fact that TVR had no way of, or didn't bother to, retain the barrel correctly in the fiberglass. I hope this is helpful.